welcome to Football on 5. All the goals, all the talking points coming your way from across the EFL at the end of a week that saw 3 more clubs send their managers packing, including 2 actually on the very same day in the Championship. On our sofa tonight, and secure enough in their positions for now at least, are Chris Iwelumo and Michael Gray. Here's what's coming up. 3 months into the season and Brighton and Norwich are flying high, but whose promotion nest would be feathered after their meeting today?
Still with Knockaert dribbling his way through, it's Knockaert!
The Zenga experiment just didn't stack up for Wolves. Their rebuilding job started at Blackburn, where there were protests in the air. And Lee Johnson's Halloween return to Barnsley saw plenty in the way of thrills and spills. Right, let's get cracking. We'll start with the big game at the top of the Sky Bet Championship. Second place Brighton, unbeaten in their last 8, winning 6 of those against 4th place Norwich City. Your commentator at the Amex Stadium is Paul Walker.
Close up, safely back to his goalkeeper Michael McGovern. Six wins in their last 9 for Norwich City. And just 3 wins on the road. One at Blackburn, Nottingham Forest and Wolves. And McGovern's taken a risk and it's backfired. It's Murray! What on earth was Michael McGovern doing? If anybody was going to punish him, it was Glenn Murray. It is a gift for Brighton. And Norwich concede another silly goal. But the first goal in a game like this is huge, and Brighton have got it. McGovern takes far too much of a risk, and Murray is too strong for him, in off the post. What a start for Albion. No need to do this, Michael McGovern. And Murray is a poacher of goals, and that's another one to his return. That's his 7th of the season. Brighton 1. Norwich City 0. Murray fouled by Olsen. Oh, there's a bit of afters there as both players went forehead to forehead, but who was the aggressor in that situation? Was it Olsen or was it Murray? The referee has a decision to make now, and it boils over again between the pair of them, right under the referee's nose. That happened right in front of the 2 benches as well. It all starts there. Well, it's difficult to tell whether Olsen forced his head into Murray or Murray made it look like he did that. I don't think there's any forward movement from the head of Martin Olsen. And it is yellow for the pair of them. And thankfully, for all the supporters in here, both teams still have 11 men left on the pitch. Olsen getting booed now. The Brighton fans felt he should have received a red card. Murphy up against Gaten Bong, played into Jerome, touched off to Houlihan. They're appealing for handball. It comes back to Dorrans. Brighton hold firm. Did they have a case for a penalty here? Ball bounces up. Houlihan has it. Into the arm of Bruno. He couldn't get out of the way of it, in fairness. Would have been harsh had it have been given. Stevens. Bruno over in space on the right. Olsen goes out to him. Pushed down the line for Knockaert. No flag. 3 to aim for in the middle. Still with Knockaert dribbling his way through. It's Knockaert! Fantastic skill at the start of it, but didn't have the finish at the end of it. Another example of what this highly skilled Frenchman can do with the ball at his feet. Weaves his way through that Norwich defence and hammers it right across the face of goal. Houlihan, terrific to drag it down like that and then let himself down and gave it away to Murray. Bong. And chased down by Murphy. Terrific ball into Scalak. Baldock moving into the 6-yard box. Murray's arriving as well! He's got a second! That should do it for Brighton and Hove Albion. Glenn Murray with a double. And Brighton and Hove Albion on course to open up a 4-point gap between themselves and the Canaries at the top end of the Championship table. It's a long way back from here for Norwich City against a team that rarely concede. And yet another goal conceded by this surprisingly porous Norwich City defence. They've now conceded 21 goals this season, and they haven't kept a clean sheet in any of their last 11 league games coming into this. Here is Murray. Baldock's in the centre. He's going to let this go for the corner. And terrific noise inside the annex. These are the kind of games they struggled in last season. Scalac's corner, and headed home by Lewis Dunk. No doubt about it now. Brighton and Hove Albion will win this game. A far post header from Lewis Dunk finishes off Norwich just past the hour mark. This is a statement to the rest of the Championship. Brighton 3, Norwich 0. From a defensive point of view, Alex Neil will be fuming. And looking at this, Albion are not finished at 3. McGovern with a hurried kick and a poor touch from Bennett, pounced on by Murray. It's Glenn Murray for a hat-trick! And Glenn Murray has a hat-trick! Well, this is turning into a trouncing for Norwich City. But another error-ridden display from Norwich. This time a poor kick from McGovern. Bennett gets caught in possession and Glenn Murray hammers the ball in. And the big man has a treble. And Brighton have 3 points in the bag with what is their result of the season so far, without question. Brighton 4, Norwich City 0. Here's Hamed. Turns away from Bennett and almost managed to slide it through to one of 3 Albion players who've made the run forward. Here's one of them, Scalac, and there's no flag on Knockaert. Racing through on goal, this for number 5! Sensational stuff from the Seagulls, who have robbed it against one of their promotion rivals. Already this has to be one of the scorelines of the season. Brighton and Hove Albion 5, Norwich City 0.
There's always a little bit more significance when you're playing that level of team because ultimately if you're getting the points, it's also points that they don't get. So I think it was always a different type of game. But these are a very, very good side and certainly would be the favourites to go up, I think, with Newcastle, what they've got. So we had to perform well today.
It's disappointment, embarrassment. Shocked as well. The scoreline is all that people are going to look at, and looking at that, obviously, that's something that we've obviously let ourselves down and let the travelling fans down as well. So that's never a nice position to be in.
I came in after going very close last year, and I said all along I'm just here to try and help the lads just get that extra step, and then hopefully we can do it together.
Where will the match ball go?
Probably in the downstairs toilet.
Really? Yeah, where you store them?
That's the only place I'm allowed them.
Come on, you've got to do better than that. What a scoreline, wow, that is. Awful for Alex Neil. Alex Neil, his worst defeat as a manager, awful for the goalkeeper as well. But what an emphatic answer to any doubter that Brighton may have about whether they're the real deal.
Well, I think starting from the back all the way through their team, George, I think they look a real deal. A solid outfit, look as if they can score goals as well. And when you keep clean sheets like they do, I think it's 10 in 15 now, that gives you a real chance of getting promotion, and that's exactly where they find themselves right at the moment, a third of the way through the season in a minute as well. Love Chris Hughton, love his enthusiasm, and I think that's filters out to his players, and you could see that in that performance today. I thought it was absolutely outstanding.
You love the Glenn Murray hat-trick, Chris, today, albeit a huge helping hand.
You know, he's always in the move here. You know, I think...
That's all right, by the way, shoulder to shoulder.
Michael McGovern, he's took a big touch there. He's went shoulder to shoulder. There's not a lot in that. And you can see by the reaction of the keeper there, it's definitely not a foul.
Does his best to miss it, by the way.
Yeah, he's done well, he's put it in. But, you know, he's experienced, he's tried and tested at this level. He started this move and look at the finish. It's a fantastic header. You know, he's the desire, the passion he shows. It's a great header, heads it down as well. But yeah, he'll score you 20+ goals. You know, he's tried and tested.
What's Norwich doing here?
Well, again, it's errors. McGovern here, Ryan Bennett, bad touch. Who's on it? Glenn Murray. And it's just that composure to get it in. And, you know, a little deflection there puts it in the goal, but fantastic hat-trick.
He was also involved, which we'll see in a moment, in a flashpoint. Nice little finish as well. Very forgettable afternoon for the goalkeeper. He was involved in a flashpoint earlier on in this. How did we read this?
Well, I've got to say, I think the referees got it spot on. You know, they come together, heads. Olsen had a little kind of lash out, a little kick there, but I think the referees got it. Give him both the right thing.
Little tickle with his right boot, maybe.
As much as I think it's the right decision, it could have gone the other way. Both players could have seen red. They really could have done, but it was the right decision at the end of the day. 11v11, but it was all about Brighton today. I thought they're terrific. 5 goals, 10th clean sheet in 15 games. Best record of anyone in the EFL as well. Right, on the way next, 5-star Fulham go to town on Huddersfield. Welcome back to Football on 5. 3 more games from the Sky Bet Championship now, starting with the leaders Newcastle, who warmed up for their trip to Preston by putting 6 past the same opposition in the EFL Cup on Tuesday.
Preston's biggest crowd for 7 years turned up to see if they could banish the memory of their nightmare in the northeast and inflict a Halloween horror show of their own on Newcastle. And Jordan Hugill made a nuisance of himself to give the visitors a fright. But Newcastle are a team in form who haven't been beaten on the road since the opening day of the season. And in Alexander Mitrovic, they have a striker who's definitely got his eye in. I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown Rats had just been #1 when Preston last beat the Magpies. And the Lancashire side probably don't like Mitrovic much after he celebrated his 4th goal against them in a week. The Lily-Whites were looking to make it 5 home wins in a row when Ben Pearson tested Carl Darlow before Tom Clark got a sight of goal, if not quite the direction. But if the Toon Army thought it would be a stroll to all 3 points, they were mistaken. The home side guaranteed a grandstand finish when Jermaine Beckford finally found the net in the last minute. Fast forward 6 added minutes and it was panic stations at the back for Newcastle. Preston felt it should have been a penalty when Beckford was felled. And although they were on their knees, the home side so nearly equalised through Marnik Vermeil. So near and yet so far for the home side. And so frustrating too.
We've certainly dug in there and asked questions again, and ultimately should have had 2 penalties over the course of the game, especially the one in the last minute, and the breaks didn't quite go for us, hitting the post late on as well. So fantastic effort from the players today to perform like they did.
This is a pre-Halloween scary movie for Huddersfield fans. They'll certainly scream in shock at some of their team's defending. After a slow start to the season, Chris Martin bagged his 3rd in his last 4 appearances to set the ball rolling. The hosts doubled their advantage just after the half-hour mark. This time it was Thomas Callas who benefited from rearguard capitulation with his 1st goal in English football. The Huddersfield horror show continued. Sean Iwelumo had a brilliant day. He had all the time in the world, and Lucas Piazon was on hand to provide the finish the dribble and cross deserved. Casey Palmer's effort was the faintest ray of light for the men in red, who were 2nd best in all departments. Slavisa Jukanovic's outfit continued the destruction of their opponents in the second half. Iwelumo fouled by Tommy Smith. Martin stepped up to clinch his 1st double of 2016. Iwelumo's virtuoso performance wasn't over as he bamboozled and mesmerised in equal measure. Another assist for Kevin McDonald to complete the rout with his 2nd for the club. Fulham's first win in 7 at home, sweeter than a piece of pumpkin pie.
Derby's improvement under Steve McLaren continued with a second win in 4 matches, and the once shot-shy Rams now seem happier pulling the trigger. Jamie Hansen drawing a fine save from Wednesday keeper Cameron Dawson. The visitors expected a penalty when Adam Reach's shot seemed to be blocked on the line by Richard Keogh's hand. Referee James Linnington took an alternative view. And Derby took the lead soon after, with Cyrus Christie an unlikely first scorer. The Irish defender had previously hit the target just once in over 100 matches. Wednesday threatened to take control in the second half, with Scott Carson pressed into service to deal with this effort from the busy Fernando Forestieri. But then the Championship's lowest scorers doubled their advantage through another unexpected source. When a mishit shot fell to centre-half Alex Pearce, it's hard to know who was the most surprised. Wednesday's winless run against the Rams now stretches to 17 meetings, but the host's renewed confidence was embodied by Jacob Butterfield, who almost made it 3. They're still the division's lowest scorers, but Derby seem to have their swagger back.
We want to put a marker down that Derby are back in, and we're hard to play against, and we've got good players and can play good football, and we prove that. But this team can get better, and individuals can get better. That's what we need to work on.
I don't understand the decision of the referee. I must tell you that it's a clear penalty, it's a red card. When you are in this kind of environment with a team that is not doing good so far, they need points, and you start and you come to press the opponent and you have chances and you score, or even if you don't score, you play against 10 players, and make a big, massive difference.
Yes, as animated as we often see him, or more so than we often see him. I think we both thought he had a point, don't we?
Yeah, I think he did. You know, I think is it Ramil that comes in on the blind side of Grant Hanley, and he's swung his foot. You know, I think he's got every right. Simon,
well, let's have a look at that one. Yeah, that was the Sheffield Wednesday one. Let's have a look at the Fulham-Newcastle game. They could, perhaps should, Mickey, have nicked a point.
Yeah, and I think that's why Simon was probably seething at the end of the game, because, you know, you're looking at the performance that Preston have put in, and they have been playing ever so well of late, but I mean, look, everybody's going to probably think I'm biased because of my background, but in any other game, that's given as a penalty, 100%. He's took him from behind and he's cleared it. Yes, they nearly got the goal there with the overhead kick from Vermeil after the incident. But if you slow that down, he doesn't get anywhere near the ball, and it has to be given as a penalty. This is why Simon's obviously seething. He wants to get the penalty, and they might come away from that with a 2-2 draw. But unfortunately, they didn't. Newcastle go on, they win the match. And that's, you know, they're at the top of the table, the luck's with them, and they got a little bit today. Fulham fans watching this, so mention us. What a performance that was. Brilliant. Well, here you go. And we picked out Sean Iwelumo, Chris, who was absolutely terrific.
He's exciting, he's direct, he's got pace, but when he gets into the final third, let's look at the composure, look at the quality of the cross, you know, and it's Martin there, fantastic, and he credits him, but he's so direct, he's in the box, he's lively, you know, he's getting at his players, he's getting by them, great feet, great touch, you know, he's got one thing in mind all the time. And again, you know, he's creating things from the right, creating chances from the left. Again, he's so direct, he wants to get at his players, he's taking players on, and look at the composure, cuts it back, fantastic finish.
Almost unplayable today, Fulham's biggest home win in over 4 years. Now, our next roundup begins with Bristol City manager Lee Johnson's return to Barnsley for the first time since he left the club in February. It turned out to be an entertaining afternoon at Oakwell.
Lee Johnson knew his former players would play with extra zest on his return to Oakwell. The Reds broke the deadlock just before the midway point of the first period. Andy Yeardham's teasing centre, Marley Watkins, made it 1-0. Or should that be a goal from Marley, 1-0. Every little thing wasn't all right for the home team, though, and Sam Winnall in particular. First he was involved in a nasty tangle. Blood subsequently flowed. It looked like Freddy Krueger had worked his mischief. A ready-made costume for a weekend Halloween party. And Winnall couldn't benefit from the award of a penalty as he was fouled in first-half injury time. Frank Fielding with the save to add insult to his earlier injury. They were punished for failing to take advantage of that after the interval. Adam Jackson handled in the box. Lee Tomlin fired home the equaliser from 12 yards out. Adam Armstrong then struck the frame of the goal for the home side with a terrific effort. In an action-packed contest, A header from Aaron Wilbraham was kept out by Reds keeper Adam Davis. No goal in his previous 4 outings constituted a drought for the prolific Tammy Abraham. But after great work by Tomlin, he was back to doing what he does, with his 12th of the season, 10 of those on the travels for Mr. Awabraham. When it looked as though the Robins manager was to have the last laugh, a twist to the plot in stoppage time. Sub Adam Hamill with an excellent individual effort to restore parity. An emotional return for the Bristol City boss.
Very good friends I made while I was here. Obviously, I made the move. It was right for myself, for my family, and I tried to explain the reasons, but some people will never understand that.
Nottingham Forest's slump continues, condemned to a 3rd straight defeat thanks to a pair of old boys. Vladimir Stojkovic unable to hold John Swift's shot, parrying it straight into the path of Gareth McCleary after only 10 minutes. Muted celebrations from the former Forest man, but sensing a possible weakness in the Serbian stopper, Reading's Danny Williams tested his reflexes again. Stojkovic just about getting away with it. The visitors are on a dreadful run, with only 1 league win in their last 10 after this reverse. But they created plenty of chances. Royals keeper Ali Al-Habsi certainly earned his win bonus, first denying Paitim Kasami, and soon after coming up with an even better save from a rampaging Eric Lehigh. Al-Habsi a strong candidate for man of the match honours. Forest boss Philippe Montagnier says he's happy with the way his side's playing, they're just not finishing the job. Lehigh here illustrating the point. But the Frenchman's under real pressure to deliver now, with Forest only out of the bottom 3 on goal difference. Defeat confirmed when Reading's other former Forest man, Chris Gunter, popped up with the 2nd on 62 minutes. The Welsh international hadn't scored in the league in over 5 years. Travelling fans also staged a protest against owner Fawaz Al-Hassawi. Turbulent times on the Trent.
You are closer to do a good result. It's not the first time, but you have no another way to continue to persevere. Persevere is good, to persevere.
Burton just can't win away from home in the Championship this season, and even when Ben Turner, or was it Leeds defender Kyle Bartley, hit the crossbar, it still wouldn't go their way. Nigel Clough arrived in Yorkshire with a 100% managerial record against the Elland Road club, but that was always going to be tested by a Leeds side growing in confidence, and so close to the opener from Kamal Roof. In the end, it was the introduction of substitute Suleiman Dukara which made all the difference. Even though his world was turned upside down by Turner, it was worth it, because top scorer Chris Wood made no mistake from the spot. These two sides had never met before, but Dukara will definitely have happy memories of this first encounter. He looked to have given the Burton defence the slip in injury time, and even though they caught him, they just couldn't stop him. That's 5 wins out of 7 at home for Leeds now, and counting.
I think he's still running, Dukara. Got quite a few miles under his belt and a short stint off the bench. Great week, actually, for Leeds. Real problems for Forest, but Reading had their goalkeeper to thank for another terrific performance, Michael.
Yeah, they did. Al-Habsi, I mean, you see some of the saves here. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Point-blank saves there as well to keep his side in it when he certainly needed to. We say a man-of-the-match performance today. I mean, this one's even better. You know, that's a full stretch, just tipping it around the top right-hand side of the goal there as well. And overall, a good performance from both sides, but Notts Forest need to find a win, and quickly.
Halloween, so we saw a bit of blood in the Barnsley-Bristol City game. Heavily involved Sam Winnall. What did you make of this, Chris?
You know, he's captain. You know, he leads by example. Fantastic character in the box. You know, I think he's took a stud.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the only shot we've got, and we're miles away from it. But it looks like, is it Gary O'Neill puts his foot on his head?
He wants to stay on the pitch. He gets off, gets himself cleaned up, and he comes on.
So he goes off for 5. He's back on for 10. Then he takes a penalty and misses it. Should he be taking it?
Look, he's captain. If he picks up the ball, you don't argue with that. I played with Sam at Scunthorpe, and he was taking penalties every day after training. He's a confident lad, but he leads by example. And yeah, if he picks up the ball, there's no complaints.
Any problem with that, Mickey, or not?
Well, I mean, he's obviously confident to walk up and take the penalty. So, I mean, you have to, you know, hold your hands up and say, yeah, he wanted the penalty. But I always think if you've been off and you're getting, you know, blood cleaned off your face, then maybe it's time to leave it to somebody else. But he's missed it. So, you know, I'm sure there'll be a few fingers pointed, but...
One of those very easy to say, isn't it, with hindsight? Right, on the way after the break, managerless Wolves, who go to mutinous Blackburn Rovers, where protesting fans boycotted the first 18 minutes and Mr. Cracker for the home side. Welcome back. This is Football on 5. You're watching highlights from the Sky Bet Championship. Now, after his surprise appointment in the summer, Walter Zenga lasted 87 days as Wolves boss, sacked on Tuesday after taking just 1 point from the last 5 matches. Today, Wolves were at Blackburn, where the home fans, well, they were protesting against the club's owner's Venky's and boycotted the first 18 minutes. Watching all of them, for us, were David Prutton and Gary Weaver.
A section of fans are planning on coming in on the 18th minute to protest against the owners. And they're also planning to leave on the 75th minute, 1875. The year that Blackburn Rovers were formed. There's Conway. Now Mulgrew. Evans. Marshall finds Danny Guthrie. Lowe is tiptoeing forward. Fired in and dealt with by Courtney Hawes. And that's Gallagher! It's a beauty from Sam Gallagher. He's beginning to make a name for himself in that Blackburn Rovers shirt. And Carl Hakimi didn't have a hope.
Absolutely stunning from Sam Gallagher. For technique, power that he generates behind this. This is absolutely exceptional. No wonder he's making a name for himself up here at Ewood Park. Goals like that will get him to the top level. Exquisite volley.
Those fans that were protesting against the owners' Venky's are making their way in now. We can hear a few jeers from Blackburn fans behind us as well, so there's not full support for this protest, but those fans that want to make their point against the owners are making it. Here's Bodvarsson. Lovely ball from Bodvarsson, and it wasn't finished off. Dave Edwards, who loves a goal at Ewood Park, unable to produce a finish this time.
Well, they are playing this 4-3-3, Wolves. It does allow the centre forward in Bodvarsson to go wide, but it means a midfielder has to make the box. In this one, it's Dave Edwards who gets so close to drawing him back level.
Well, it has been going on for quite some time. Blackburn Rovers fans against the owners' Venky's. And once again, they are making their feelings known here this evening. There's Costa. Another decent delivery. Structured to Connor Cody. What can he do this time? Cody, and Steele gets a boot on it. Unorthodox, but he did the job. Now Gallagher on the charge. Danny Bart trying to be the roadblock. Danny Bart not to be spoken to here by the referee. It may be a little bit more. I thought it might be.
Like Connor Cody, just takes his time just to be able to set his sights and get it onto his right foot. Just come through a few bodies, takes a little nick off Gordon Greer, I think, on the way through.
Gallagher, Courtney Hawes bouncing off Sam Gallagher. There's Marshall scurrying infield again from his right wing position. He might fancy this, Ben Marshall. Marshall, and Hakimi got across to it. Fingertip save to keep out Ben Marshall.
It's a wonderful save that keeps Wolves in this game, because Ben Marshall's doing all he can to get himself onto his right foot. And that is bound for the bottom corner until the big man gets his hands on it.
Danny Bart's just been involved in another challenge here, and the referee just had a little look at him. He has already been yellow carded, Danny Bart.
Sam Gallagher does so well to chase this down. He knows he's coming, but that is a reckless, wild swing from Danny Bart. Quite clearly takes out Sam Gallagher, and I think he's very, very lucky there that that yellow card didn't come out.
Well, what can Wolverhampton Wanderers conjure up from this as they hunt an equalising goal here? Danny Bart's ready to make his move. Gallagher keeping an eye on him. Mulgrew looking at Courtney Hawes. Fizzed in dangerously. The Blackburn Rovers have managed to survive that. Wonderful delivery.
Wonderful ball from Joao Teixeira. It's right on top of the goalkeeper. Asked so many questions of the defence. There's a fair portion of Dave Edwards' shirt being grabbed there as well.
There's Gallagher, whose wonderful goal is the difference right now. Emnes, foot down on the gas, trying to move away from Courtney Hawes. Oh, this is Gallagher! Big save from Lonergan. He's in the game now, all right.
Nice little turn and shoot by Sam Gallagher. He did have Ben Marshall in support on his right-hand side. He's so quick over the ground now, Lonergan.
Well, those fans that are protesting are now leaving Ewood Park in the 75th minute, as they planned. Those that aren't part of the protest today are making sure that they're standing 1-to-1 and shoulder to shoulder with the players here. Tajira, good save from Jason Steele. Doherty, Edwards, inevitable. He's got a taste for scoring goals here, and he's just left his calling card again.
First and foremost, it's a good save by Steele. And then after that, it's how they react to the ball, how they react, how do they pick up the men in the box. They've got the numbers, no doubt, Blackburn, to be able to deal with this when the cross does come back in.
We know that we can pick up points and move forward, and that's what we look to do. We're not going to hide behind that. When all said and done, the walkout, the bottom line is it's a decision that's cost us tonight, because it's a clear offside, and we're in here at 1-0, we may have added to it, so that's very galling.
Do you want the job? What are you being told? Are you a contender?
I don't know. Not been told anything, to be honest. I just want to do the job that I'm doing right now. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and we just concentrate on the next day.
Choppy waters at both of these clubs at the moment. Let's start with the football, and what a goal to open the scoring from a player who looks, Chris, like a real handful.
You know what, 21 years old, already got 6 this campaign, but he's got everything. You know, what a technique. Hits it with power, with the laces into the roof of the net. He was chasing everything down, great physical presence, holds the ball up, but you know, the way that he was working the centre-backs and the full-backs, running the channels, you know, work ethic spot on.
Yeah, he won't hit a ball. Sam Gallagher smoother than that. Wolves, were they lucky twice, Mickey?
Well, with a sending off, or what should have maybe been a sending off, I think on this occasion here, Danny Bath, he picks up his first yellow card against Sam Gallagher there, but I actually think it's Gallagher who should have picked up the yellow card for pulling back. But this is the second one here. Yeah, after being booked, if you look at it overall, the bigger picture, yes, he should have been given a red card, but he stays on the field, which I think overall, let's just say it was the right decision.
Have a look at this. Yeah. 1, 2, 3 off.
3 players offside. Again, Doherty picks it up here on the right, in the right back position, just crosses it, and Dave Edwards, who had a couple of little looks at goal, and he's done this so often. He was actually at Wolves when I was there, and that's the positions he used to pick up, but it's a wonderful finish, and they were the better side in the second half, but 2 of my old clubs really struggling at the wrong end of the table.
Walter Zenga, the latest new manager, who is now a former manager, and he's having to update his CV. Have a look at this. 9 teams hired new managers in the summer. 5 of them are gone already. What's the point?
Well, to be fair, it was always going to be a difficult ask. They appointed him a week before the campaign started. He doesn't know the league. The culture's different completely, and he's been found out. They're looking to appoint Wolves an English manager. The recruitment, that's the big question that hangs over it for me. Rob Edwards, he's a great coach. If you're going to give it, if you're going to bring in players recruit-wise and give it to Rob Edwards to coach, then so be it. But they're saying that what an English manager, the names that are getting touted about, Nigel Pearson, Sam Allardyce, I'll be very surprised if they take.
Who would you want, Mickey? The whole Zenga thing didn't work, so they start again. Usual suspects on that little graphic there? Yeah,
it is. I mean, it is the usual suspects. And, you know, we like to see young guys being given an opportunity. I'd love to see Rob being given that opportunity. But if I was looking for maybe a little bit of experience, possibly look at somebody like Paul Lambert. I know Nigel Pearson will want to be trying to get back into the game as quick as he possibly can as well. But what a great club. A fantastic club to go in and work your wonders in that great environment. And I just hope they get it right.
Right, 2 more matches now. We'll start with second bottom Wigan. On Tuesday, they sacked their manager as well, Gary Caldwell, who, despite leading the team to the League One title last season, lasted just 14 games in the Championship, winning 2. Today, they were at Cardiff.
Manchester United's reserve team coach Warren Joyce is the favourite to take over from Caldwell, but it was Cardiff who started the stronger. Anthony Pilkington's header well saved by Adam Bogdan. Neil Warnock knows how to win over the Cardiff fans, calling them the biggest club in Wales. An unbeaten start to his reign doesn't hurt either, and Bogdan again called on to keep out Pilkington's fierce shot. Cardiff had the better of a poor first half. Sol Bamba certainly thought his header had crossed the line before it was cleared by Rhys Burke. In the absence of an injured Ricky Lambert, Cardiff lacked a focal point in attack. Aaron Gunnarsson the latest to test Bogdan in the Wigan goal. Calling Cardiff City the biggest side in Wales would have raised eyebrows in Swansea, and so fate would have a hand here as former Swan Jordi Gomez put Wigan ahead with his first in 6 weeks. Cardiff fought to keep Warnock's unbeaten run intact, but Joe Bennett's late shot was blocked. The Latics have their first away win of the season.
Typical away performance, really. One chance and a goal late on. Give us little to come back. But we worked hard to try and get the chances, but it's difficult, teams set up like that, and we've got to try and beat them, and we weren't good enough today in that department.
Mick McCarthy described this match as a must-win this season, following one win in the last 7 league games. The Tractor Boys took an early lead after 3 minutes following a Tom Lawrence free kick, Freddie Sears glancing in at the near post. Rotherham were having the worst run in 54 years. Even honorary presidents, the Chuckle brothers, aren't getting any laughs out of that. But the Basement Boys wasted no time equalising. Danny Ward volleyed one in from a long throw on 7 minutes. Ipswich ran out and left him alone in front of goal. Early in the second half, the Millers went ahead following yet another long throw. Danny Ward popping up again and scoring in the bottom right-hand corner. That's 8 in 15 appearances. There's not been a draw in the last 14 league meetings between the two sides, but there would be today. David McGoldrick broke Kenny Jackett's heart in the 95th minute with that 25-yard thunderbolt to share the spoils.
The only way we can get the supporters back on our side is by playing well and winning. And maybe there's a point in every season that you need something out of a game, a little bit of good fortune. It was good fortune and a wonderful strike, but maybe that little bit of luck might just turn our season around. Let's hope it does.
2 late goals now in the last 2 weeks have affected the results, but the positive is that we're close, we're very competitive. We've been unlucky in the last 2 weeks. If we can get certain details right, and if we learn, the bit we've got to make up isn't a great deal.
Yeah, difficult start for Kenny Jackett. Wigan guys winning, it would be tempting to say, well, you always get a win when you sack a manager, it's a reaction. Gary Caldwell will probably say, I knew that result was just around the corner. Did he get a fair crack at this?
No, I don't think he did. He got them in the position where they are right now, got them promoted. And then the Championship, yes, you're going to lose games because of the squad and the influx of players. They've got to try and turn it around to try and get that little bit better. I certainly think he should have been given a lot more time. He's got experienced people behind the scenes as well, working with him. Malcolm Crosby, who was my first manager at Sunderland, has got huge experience. He's got Mike Pollock there, who's been at that football club for a long, long time, knows the players inside out. So I feel a bit sorry for him in one sense, but he'll be back in football very, very soon.
We know how brutal it is, management. Chris, what was your reaction when you heard that Caldwell had gone?
Yeah, I was disappointed, at the end of the day. I think where he brought Wigan from, coming up as champions, and the style of football he's got them playing as well, but it's a result business. And I felt that probably the chairman's thought, you know what, I need to make this decision now so that they can, like you say, bring in someone that sparks the squad.
He's young, though, George. That's the big problem, When you're a young chairman, you may be rash with your decisions. I think you've got to be very careful, and I think he's jumped in too quick.
Yeah. OK, well, stay with us. More action on the way from the Sky Bet Championship. We've got the best of Brentford's Friday night date with Queen's Park Rangers. The FIA World Rally Championship has hit our shores, and there's live coverage of the final stage of the Wales Rally GP. Sunday, Channel 5, 11:50 in the morning. Highlights on Monday at 7 in the evening. Right now, you're watching highlights from the Sky Bet Championship here on Football on 5, and Friday night's match saw Brentford make the very short trip to QPR, where they hadn't won since the 60s. Your commentators, Andy Hinchcliffe and Daniel Mann.
McEachran looking for Sawyers now. No flag! Oh, and Hogan on hand. Teed up for Yanaris. Well, Alex Smithies called into urgent action there.
Remains Sawyers, just a little lay-off and he's on the move. Luongo doesn't stay with him, clearly onside.
Great positioning, athleticism from the goalkeeper to keep that out.
Interesting times for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was never going to be an easy job, this one, given the climate at the club when he came in. Oh, Hogan after this. Boy, it will break Clark's way. Hogan wants it. Is there the finish? Not this time. And Rangers certainly grateful for that.
He does everything right here, pretty much, Scott Hogan. He stays on side, he sends the defender the wrong way, just doesn't get enough curl on his shot, but a brilliant counter-attack.
Clark. McEachran. On now for Bjelland. Romain Sawyers. McEachran. Clark. They found a way through. It's Josh Clark with a goal that has been on the cards from the very start. Jubilation for the Brentford supporters, and it is no more than they have deserved.
He's playing on the right-hand side, but he's drifted infield, causing so many problems for defenders, but those dancing feet to get away from Nader Manua, outstanding. And he catches the goalkeeper on the backside, but that doesn't stop it going in, and it is a goal that Brentford richly deserve.
Clark. Perch trying to find a way out. It doesn't. Collin. Sawyers! Oh, it's a beautiful goal! And perhaps a fitting way to win a derby match. It looks as though that 52-year wait is over.
This is so difficult with the ball coming across your body, to control it, to keep it down, to put it in the top corner. An outstanding finish. The two Brentford wide players have been pretty much unstoppable. That is absolutely sensational.
Shoek might change the picture here. Silla! Oh, what a fantastic clearance by Egan.
Doesn't worry about the ball, worries about defending his goal. He's back round on the cover, along with Harley Dean, and Bjelland been superb.
Hogan, can they finish it in style? Oh, Kirschbaumer blazing it over the top when he had an opportunity to really finish with a flourish.
See what he's trying to do. Took it into that far corner, but maybe with your left foot, side foot, you can make it 3.
They were better. They were first to the ball. They won the second balls. They played. They created. They hit us on the break. They hit it where it hurts, and we could not, or we did not do the same, and that's painful to take. I definitely think that when they score 2-0, they make a foul on the player in a corner, but then still, you know, we didn't create enough chances to really trouble them, and that's the disappointment.
1 win in 7 now, the last 7 at home. Les Ferdinand, Mickey says it's a steady project, no sign of any panic, but it's only a steady project if you're going in the right direction. Is Jimmy under pressure?
He has to be. Steady projects, and you know, when you've got people like Les, you know, sticking up for your manager already, then you know there's something maybe happening behind the scenes. But they've got to get it right. You know, Jimmy did great at Burton, but he's not really got going yet at QPR, and it's a huge club. You know, it's been in the Premier League for a lot of years as well. They want to get back there, but it's certainly not going to happen this time around.
At Brentford, Chris, threatening the playoff places again. There are some very strong teams above them. How realistic is it that they can challenge?
No, I'm sure that they believe that they can have that push, but it's down to consistency, getting the results. I thought last night they were excellent. You know, certain players stood out. Josh McEachran, he was dictating play, he was making things happen. Yeah, Romain Sawyers, you know what, and I'm delighted for him because he's been getting a bit of a hard time, bit of stick from the fans. He's put that in, fantastic finish, and hopefully he can consistently kick on.
Right, Rotherham stay bottom of the table. Here we go, although they have managed to stop a run of 7 straight defeats. Blackburn, they're 6 points better off, and Wigan complete the bottom 3. The other end, here we go. Newcastle stay 3 points clear of Brighton at the top. Huddersfield and Norwich both lost 5-0 today, but they stay 3rd and 4th respectively. Reading are up to 5th, and Bristol City remain 6th. OK, stay with us for Goal Rush. That's on the way from Sky Bet Leagues 1 and 2, where Kevin Van Veen showed his eye for goal in another classy display from the leader Scunthorpe. Welcome to Goal Rush on Football on 5. We'll start in Sky Bet League One, where you would expect, with MK Dons, who took the pitch without Carl Robinson in the dugout for the first time in over 6 years today. Quite a strange feeling. He left following last weekend's 3-0 defeat at home to Southend. Head of coaching Richie Barker was in charge at Sheffield United.
Sheffield United were keen to extend their unbeaten streak to 11 against a team with no manager and no way, it seems, to stem the flow of goals they're conceding. Stefan Skugel, the latest man to help himself. But the team from Buckinghamshire have only lost twice on the road this campaign, and with finishing like this from Darren Potter, you can see why. Defending, though, is bound to be top of the Richie Barker to-do list this week, because you can't give Billy Sharp time and space and expect to get away with it. MK Dons did, and were punished for it.
If table leaders Scunthorpe are to finish on top come May, then their impressive home form could be instrumental. 19 games unbeaten at Glanford Park ahead of this one, and they went in front when Paddy Madden applied a simple touch for his third goal in 4 games. Swindon, with only 2 league wins in 11, crumbled again 6 minutes later when midfielder Dwayne Holmes, born in the American city of Columbus, navigated Scunthorpe into a 2-0 lead. And that advantage was doubled with 2 more goals just before half-time. First, Kevin Von Veen, the game's outstanding player, produced a very clever finish. And then when the Dutchman's shot rattled the crossbar, Madden was on hand to net his second of the game. It's 15 years since the Iron last scored 4 goals in the first half of a match. Game over before the dressing room kettles had boiled. Swindon belatedly responded through Nathan Thompson, but catch us if you can is the message from Glanford Park.
Bolton didn't hang about with 3 goals in 9 minutes to bury Port Vale. Zach Clough with his 5th from his last 4 outings, getting things rolling after only 7 minutes. 4 minutes later, with Vale fans yelling in vain that the ball had gone out of play, Sammy Amiobi kept his run going. And when it fell to Josh Vela, there was only going to be one outcome. The goal of the match arrived on 16 minutes. Laurie Wilson's second in almost 3 years, a little bit special to say the least. Bolton could have run riot but settled for 3, leaving the last word to Vale's Liverpool loanee Sam Hart, who'd probably wished that his first goal in senior football had come under different circumstances.
A real pendulum swinger here, and a tough test for Bradford at the home of a team unbeaten in 9, but it began superbly for the Bantams. Nicky Law's assist, Geordie Howula on loan from Huddersfield with a deflected strike. In front of a sellout crowd, Neil Ardley's outfit was soon level. George Francome's free kick caused uncertainty. Tom Elliott belted the ball in. Into an eventful final half hour, and Bradford's Josh Cullen fouled Jake Reeves. Cullen furious with the decision. Lyle Taylor's penalty put his team back in front. Their opponents were soon handed a spot kick of their own. Keeper James Shea felled Matthew Kilgallen. James Hanson registered his first of the season. The experienced striker has reached double figures in 5 of his 7 campaigns with the club, and he grabbed his second of this term right at the death to give the visitors their first victory in 4 matches.
Rovers were unbeaten in 5 before today in all competitions. With 1 defeat in 20 home league games, the odds look good to keep that going. It took 57 minutes for a breakthrough. Shaquille Colthurst with the foul on Daniel Lidbitter. Matt Taylor scored the penalty straight down the middle for his 11th of the season. The Pirates have scored and conceded in every league home game, and Peterborough kept that stat going by scoring on 62 minutes. Colthurst from close range after Kel Roos fumbled the cross. Posh could draw level in the league with Rovers if they could get a winner. They left it late. On 92 minutes, Tom Nichols left completely unmarked to score from close range. The celebrations, more Pirate-like than Posh. Peterborough leapfrog Rovers in the table.
Bury have been channeling Jekyll and Hyde ahead of Halloween. 6 wins followed by 6 defeats in League and Cup. They fell behind when Matt Taylor's free kick was turned in by Mark Richards. Rob Page had warned his Northampton players against underestimating this out-of-form Bury side. But when Niall Mayer brought down Sam Hoskins midway through the second half, Richards was able to double their lead and score his 3rd in 4 games. And the Cobblers will have been eyeing back-to-back wins when Taylor curled in that free kick in his first game back after suspension. But with quarter of an hour to go, Bury began an unlikely comeback. First, substitute George Miller headed in his first senior goal. And then two players brought on at half-time combined to make it 3-2. Hallam Hope finding Zeli Ismail. Not enough, though. A sixth straight league defeat for Bury. The Cobblers move into the playoff spots.
Some terrific goals in that little lot. It was take your pick, really, wasn't it, Chris, for which ones to see again? There's one in the Scunthorpe game that particularly took your eye.
Well, we've got to talk about Graham Alexander. He's got him playing some fantastic football that creates chances. They're scoring goals. Kevin Van Veen here, you know, look at the composure, the confidence, you know, throughout. That comes from manager down. They've got goals coming from all over the pitch. Unbeaten in 20 at Glanford Park as well. Outstanding.
Looking increasingly unstoppable at the moment.
Yes, they are.
Bradford, Mickey, blimey, they're scoring some goals, certainly the last couple of games, but a contentious penalty, shall we say, which got them going.
Yeah, it was. But you have to say, I think the referee has got a pretty decent look at it. So, you know, we have to obviously, you know, stick with his guns, to be honest with you. But, yeah, they're now turning their draws into wins. They left it late in this game, but, you know, as you see, you know, they create so many opportunities. And this is a big supported football club as well. You know, they're keeping within the pack, if you like, just away from the top two as well. So, you know, they're doing everything right at the moment. They've only lost one this season. If they keep that going, they'll be OK.
Yeah, they're scoring some goals as well. 3 last week, 3 again this week. Right, Shrewsbury Town, they finally appointed Paul Hurst as their new manager this week after securing his release from Grimsby. His new team, well, they started the day bottom of the table and 6 points from safety as well as they played Southend.
A new manager so often brings about a change in fortune, and that's what happened after 26 minutes. Captain Adam El Abd produced a stunner to mark the first game in charge for Paul Hurst. Just what you want from your skipper. The lead didn't last long. Stephen McLaughlin with the equaliser. Phil Brown Shrimpers 4 unbeaten. The Shrews winless in 10, but this was a step in the right direction.
We need to be better in possession of the ball. That will come. But first and foremost, with the amount of goals that we've been conceding, you know, you have to start somewhere, and I think that's a good start. The work rate was excellent, and that's what you have to do when things aren't going well. And again, the equaliser, I think, having watched some previous games, that's when they might have just gone and conceded a second and a third. Today they stood strong, and I think it's a deserved point.
Chesterfield's sole victory at the Valley came in 1933, and their wait goes on. Dan Gardner hitting the post for the stuttering Spirites. Barely 10,000 Charlton diehards were on hand, and they couldn't work up the energy to protest against the club owners, although Nicky Ajose almost got addicts' pulses racing. The only goal came in the dying minutes, courtesy of substitute Lee Novak. Charlton may have issues off the pitch, but on it they're quietly improving, now unbeaten in 4.
Oldham and Rochdale are only separated by 6 miles, but they were nearly separated by a goal. Joe Bunny went close early on. On 41 minutes, deadlock was broken by Matthew Lund. A left-footed shot was buried beyond Conor Ripley. 5,204 watched the duel, and Rochdale went close before the end with this casual volley from Callum Camps. Rochdale are now in a playoff spot in League One.
Before Mark Venus took over at Coventry, they'd yet to win in the league. Now they have 3 from their last 4, and they took the lead through Andy Rose. But as the leaves have been falling, Walsall's confidence has been growing, with 10 points from a possible 12. Erhan Oztumer continued his most prolific season. A point, though, takes Coventry out of the danger zone.
Fleetwood have improved of late, ending a 6-match winless run with 2 victories in their last 3 games. And further optimism was provided when Kyle Dempsey brilliantly set up David Ball to put the Cod Army in front after 19 minutes. They led at the interval, but Gillingham, without a win in 7 games and desperately short on confidence, were boosted by a leveller from Jake Hessenthaler's terrific low shot, his first goal of the season. Fleetwood's revival continued, though, thanks to Ashley Hunter's instinctive late volley, which had them jumping for joy with all 3 points and a place in the top 10.
Oxford have got used to having things their own way at the Kassam Stadium, with just 1 league defeat there since April. So when Marvin Johnson was allowed to roam and Liam Sercombe was allowed to snaffle, there seemed little danger of that stat changing. But Oxford's lead lasted precisely 5 minutes because the visitors responded with a moment of Millwall magic from Steve Morrison. The Londoners are enjoying October rather more than their winless September, and they also made the most of some generous Oxford defending. Marlon Romeo couldn't believe his luck, and Aidan O'Brien couldn't really miss. Still, with 40 minutes to go, Oxford had plenty of time on their side. The trouble was they just couldn't make the most of it. Chris Maguire made things happen, but the finishing touch eluded Dan Crowley and his teammates.
So, those results mean that Millwall move up to 13th, Oxford drop to 17th, Shrewsbury stay bottom of League One, a point behind Chesterfield, Oldham and now Swindon occupy the other relegation places. Here's the end you want to be in. At the very top, Scunthorpe's lead over Bolton stays at 3 points. Bradford remain third, a point clear of Sheffield United. And Northampton and Rochdale have both moved into the playoff places. Stay with us, another quick break. All the action from League Two coming up next, including Carlisle's unbeaten start to the season extended in some style by Luke Joyce. This is Goal Rush on Football on 5, and our Sky Bet League 2 action starts with Plymouth with 32 points.
Mark him, Dave! Dave, mark him! Evans Halshaw's Sell Your Car sponsors football on Channel 5.
Big game today. It's getting a bit tense. Take your mind off it with this great offer.
Get your mobile out.
That's sorted it.
Quick, his head's come off!
Now, there was a lengthy stoppage at Home Park when referee Kevin Johnson collided with Jimmy Spencer. He required treatment and was eventually taken off in a neck brace before one of his assistants, Simon Knapp, could take over his duties in the middle. 17 minutes were added on, and when a weak back pass from Luke Prosser put Sam Walker in trouble, Ryan Donaldson made sure Plymouth, the informed side in English League football, matched their best ever start to a season.
"66 Crawley fans made the 696-mile round trip to Carlisle. A goal after 5 minutes silenced them. Jabo Ibere headed in from Tom Miller's long throw. They went further ahead after 28 minutes with a well-crafted goal following a head down from Michael Rains. Jason Kennedy slotted away for his 7th of the season. Before the end of the first half, there was time for another. Luke Joyce, left unmarked, thought he'd try his luck and hit one from 25 yards to give the unbeaten side a 3-0 lead at half-time. Crawley popped up before the end for a consolation in added time when Mark Connolly tapped in at the far post. Carlisle continue the unbeaten run and stay second.
This might not be a roundup that Doncaster keeper Ross Etheridge will enjoy watching. He had an afternoon to forget as he dropped the ball at the feet of Matt Bloomfield, who couldn't believe his luck. It was a welcome gift for a Wycombe side who found life in League Two tough this season. Doncaster haven't, and when James Coppinger teed up Tommy Rowe, they were back on level terms. The Yorkshire side have scored more goals than anyone else in the division, and John Marquis has been at the heart of that. But the Donny striker probably hasn't scored many better than this. How many times do you have to beat a player to score your 7th in 12 games? The answer is plenty. But Wycombe would head home with a point, courtesy of a second of the match from Bloomfield, courtesy of another Etheridge error. It was definitely not what the manager was looking for.
2 individual mistakes have cost us the game. That's as clear as day. So disappointing. 2 points dropped. But you know, it is another point in a game we wanted to win, and expected to win if we did the right things.
With County struggling at home and Luton strong away, the Hatters were favourites, but this was a game the Magpies should have won. Only a brilliant acrobatic clearance by Glenn Ray prevented Aaron Collins from scoring. County then won a penalty for a foul on Hayden Hollins with 7 minutes to go. But Vadaine Oliver's spot kick was superbly saved by England under-21 international Christian Woolton to keep it goalless.
Cambridge had won 4 of their previous 6, but it was the away team's big following in raptures as Connor Chaplin met a long ball from Christian Burgess. Pompey had to defend their lead a man light for the final half hour. Amin Linganzi saw red for his 2-footed challenge on Connor Newton. Portsmouth's 3rd away win of the season, all with a 1-0 scoreline to pep up their promotion push.
After a late equaliser at Barnet in midweek, rock-bottom Newport arrived in Lancashire with a spring in their step, especially Rhys Healey, who was given the freedom of the Wham Stadium to produce a quality finish. Admittedly, there was an element of the luck of the bounce about their second, but when the ball eventually fell to Jazzy Barnum-Bob, he showed a maturity beyond his 21 years to score his first senior goal. Aki made a fight of it and Shay McCartan came close to some long-distance heroics. Joe Day matched that, but not the follow-up from Janoy Donasian, which was rapid. But Graham Wesley's first win as Newport boss was eventually confirmed deep in injury time, and it was another terrific finish. Josh Sheehan with his first goal of the season, and very well timed it was too.
Yeah, frustrating day for Doncaster. Not a great day for the goalkeeper there either. Very impressive point, though, we have to say, for Wickham in that one, Mickey.
Yeah, and much needed as well. So I think a very good performance from certainly Matt Bloomfield, scoring 2 goals. I think it's took him 400 games to actually do that as well, but got off to a very good start and a confident goal there as well, but he wasn't finished there. He wanted to stick it in the back of the net again, so that was brilliant for them.
Soft keeping on both, though.
Yeah, I think, look, we've seen that so many times over this weekend in a lot of matches as well, but overall, a very good point for him.
Donny, Chris, at least scored the goal of that game, one of the goals of the day.
Unbelievable for John Marquis. He's, look at him, I think here, you think he's going to get the shot. He's direct, great close ball control as well. You think the chance is gone. He moves the ball, creates another angle, get your shot away. Look at that, fantastic finish.
Wes Hoolahan scored one like that the other week for Norwich as well.
Great technical ability.
With George Best.
Yeah, very much so.
Ricky Villa.
Well, what's wrong with just going through and blasting it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
When did we start doing all this?
It was fantastic. Great.
You'd just put it away, wouldn't you, if you went clean through it?
No, I'd probably missed it.
Come on, Mickey.
Frustrating, though, for Doncaster. That could prove a really, really important point for Wickham. Right, then, let's move on. Grimsby Town say they won't rush into appointing a successor to Paul Hurst. Head physio turned caretaker boss Dave Moore was in temporary charge as the Mariners went to Yeovil, who themselves had chalked up 3 successive 1-0 victories.
Both these sides began the day with a chance of climbing into the playoffs. Moore, in caretaker charge for the 2nd time with Grimsby, saw top scorer Omar Bogle test Artur Krysiak in the Yeovil goal. Darren Way was also linked with the Shrewsbury job, but Ryan Hedges failed to make it 4 1-0 wins on the trot for Yeovil. Both teams remain outside the top 7.
In a season in which managers are falling like 9 pins, the 2 longest-serving bosses in the EFL came together at the Globe Arena. Exeter's Paul Tisdale was feeling the pressure with his side in the bottom 2, but he was celebrating when Lee Holmes set up David Wheeler to put the Grecians in front. Jim Bentley's afternoon quickly got a whole lot worse as Exeter doubled their advantage and the home fans' woes, with Jamaican international Joel Grant netting for the 2nd game running. And before half-time it was 3-0 as Holmes' lovely finish sealed a win which moved Exeter out of the relegation places. It also confirmed another home loss for the shell-shocked Shrimps, who did go close through an Alex Whitmore header, but the damage had been done in the opening 45 minutes.
It was a winter's game of football. It's the first one we've had this year where it's wet and slippery, and the game was quick and we played fast, and we had 3 really, really incisive, sharp finishes, and it was a good half of football.
Stevenage improved their prospects at the wrong end of the table with a 2nd consecutive league win on the road. Villa loanee Henry Cowans dropping a perfect free kick onto the head of Charlie Lee. Stevenage in front on 32 minutes. but Mansfield were level 9 minutes into the second half. Borough keeper Jamie Jones at full stretch, and with Stevenage unable to clear their lines, Pat Hoban's second league goal of the campaign had the Stags level. But that set the stage for another young Villa loanee. This is 19-year-old Harry McCurdy on his full league debut, demonstrating not only confidence, but also an impressive turn of pace and a nose for goal. And that proved to be the winner, although Mansfield's Mal Benning will probably still be wondering how he didn't earn his side a share of the points.
Crew boss Steve Davis says the O's are better than their league positions suggest. It wasn't the case on 34 minutes when George Cooper swiped home the first to give the 12th place side the lead. Harry Davis doubled the tally on 42 minutes after a dink cross from Alex Kawamia. One touchdown and a prod past the keeper was enough to secure the points. The result leaves Orient in the relegation spots, Alex up to 7th.
After clinching their first away success of the campaign last weekend, Cheltenham were looking for a third straight triumph. They got away with one early on as Brad Potts hit the bar, which is what Danny Pugh might be doing to drown his sorrows after diverting James Dayton's seemingly harmless set-piece past his own keeper. Blackpool's triumph over Doncaster last weekend was the result of the day, and they got back on terms thanks to Kyle Vassell. Equalising joy was somewhat short-lived though, as minutes afterwards the goal was calling for Danny Boy. Danny Wright, the scorer, to put the Robins back in front in a frantic finale to the first period. Blackpool grabbed another equaliser 2 minutes into the second half. Vassell with a sensational second of the afternoon and his 8th of the season.
After one win in 8 league games, Barnet had slid towards the EFL trapdoor. No sign of a revival either when Pools, without a win in 3 league games, took the lead as home defender Mauro Villette headed into his own net. And 8 minutes into the second half, they were further ahead as Porrick Armand headed in to make it 6 goals for the campaign and put victory in sight. But from a position of seeming dominance, Hartlepool then made it hard for themselves when Liam Donnelly brought down John Akinde with the double whammy of a red card and a penalty. Akinde then converted with all the confidence of a man who scored 20 goals in the last 21 games, and what a turning point it proved to be. You could almost feel what was coming next. Maltese international Luke Gambin's cross somehow found a way in to drag B's level against the 10 men, and they completed a spectacular comeback when Sean Batt picked the perfect time to score his first ever goal for the club. The Hive buzzing as Bees move up to mid-table.
If John Akinde had been any more relaxed on that penalty, he would have taken it lying down. That result sees Barnet go 14th. Hartlepool are down to 20th. Newport, they stay bottom of the EFL. 4 points off Leyton Orient, who have dropped into the bottom 2. Here's the other end of the table. Plymouth stay 4 points clear, looking really good. They're 4 clear of unbeaten Carlisle. Doncaster remain 3rd. They're 3 points clear of Luton and Portsmouth, while Notts County and now Crewe complete the top 7. That's it from us tonight, so thanks to Mickey and to Chris as well. You are always welcome. A reminder, watch live coverage of the Wales Rally GB Sunday, Channel 5, 11:50. Highlights Monday at 7. And that's all tonight. Brighton were 5-star. Good night.